Hola, Hector. Asema. How are you?
Hola, Yousra, mucho gusto. I'm fine, thank you.
So nice to have you here, Hector. And Hector, I'm so glad that you are my guest. And today's episode from the IKIGAI International Podcast is from Mexico. And my super guest is Hector. And Hector, sorry, I'm for mispronouncing your name. so, welcome, Hector. Welcome.
Thank you, Yousra. And that's the wonderful thing of making international friends is that awkward moment that you think you're messing up their name, but it brings us closer together immediately. Yousra, it's a real pleasure. It's so fun, and I've been looking forward to having this show in the IKIGAI International Podcast with you. And I even took the test, so I do have a couple of things to share about my personality and my results from the test that you shared with me. Hi, everyone, and welcome.
Thank you very much, Hector. So today we're going to discover that part of the podcast is that test, because the test is like the initial points and that you know a few things about yourself you didn't even know that really existed. But Ikigai as a concept is broader than this. And I will explain a little bit to whoever is watching us for the first time. Ikigai is a Japanese term that I like to use for my podcast, which means Iki, life, and Gai, purpose. Both of them together as a portmanteau, they mean the life purpose. And everyone has at least one life purpose. So because we have plenty of them, according to the time and space, according to the circumstances that we go through. So Ikigai is a word that I've been fascinated with a long time ago. And now here is it. It's my podcast, and it has brought a lot of international friends from all over the world so that we can speak about our life purpose. So welcome, Hector. Welcome among the Ikigai family.
Thank you. When you shared that Ikigai test or personality quiz, career like helper link with me, I had never heard of it before, and little did I know that it has such a deep meaning. And I was actually in Japan recently, and I found a bit of the culture obviously very interesting. And thank you for sharing a bit more with me in this Ikigai test. I did learn a bit about myself, and looking forward to sharing it with everyone. I'm sure we can share the Ikigai test with everyone watching today. We'll share it later in our comments, and you can try it yourself. And who knows, maybe one day you can be a guest in the Ikigai podcast as well.
Sure. Thank you very much, Hector, for your open mindset and for trying the Ikigai experience with me. I'm so glad to know that you've been to Japan, because you can't talk about something and you don't visit and see it in its right place. And I've always been fascinated by Asian culture in general, and most specifically with the Japanese culture, be it as an academic or as a person. So, I'll be glad to discover more about you today and your life purpose. I'm interested to know first, Hector, what are the things that you discovered through the test? So, new things you knew about yourself, apart from the ones you already know.
Well, thank you, Yousra. And actually, I love how your podcast is very conversational. And I want to touch on the point of Asian culture and Asian education first, because actually I lived in Vietnam for 7 years. I had my first English as a second language career opportunity there, and it was very unexpected. I wasn't really planning to stay that long or even planning to be a teacher, actually, but little did I know that I fell in love with the profession and obviously my students. And I was very intrigued by the culture, like you said, and their hard work ethic, their full like self-willingness to give themselves to the education. You know, I don't want to quote this wrong, but Vietnam's like investment per capita for education is that of 20%. So they don't value anything more than education. And that's why they see children going to school on Saturdays and going to extra classes after school, not necessarily to only study subjects, but experience and skills and maybe music or art. And I was just fascinated with it. And I believe that that lifelong learning stayed with me now that I came back to Mexico. And I'm happy to know that with the Ikigai test, I was shown that I'm good with people skills, you know, leading a team, kind of conveying information, being the mediator of a project or a company, or bringing people together to agree, to keep people on tasks. And what is that saying? That I'm a teacher, like it's one of my callings. And yeah, it could be like said that it could be in a business environment or even in a podcast show kind of manager position. So that's the beauty of the Ikigai test, that what it says doesn't really reflect just one profession or one calling, but rather it's how you mold it, what you can make of it. It kind of gives you ingredients, and you yourself are able to create different recipes with them. It's not just this set dish that, oh, well, now the test told me to do it, so now there's no way out of it.
Yes, and we all know that tests are really accurate to a certain extent, as you said. And I'm really so happy you took the adventure, you took the risk of doing the test, because some people, they just prefer to stay in their comfort zone and they don't want to know more about themselves. And be it professionally speaking, or let's say at the personal individual level. And as you said, the Ikigai is more about not only you as a person, but your community, the people you're dealing with. And not only your profession, but also your life. What kind of good things you can bring to society, to people, what added value you can add to your country, be it, or to your community as an English language professional. So so glad to have you as my guest. And actually, I choose very, very carefully my guests, and I knew that you are one of the perfect guests, because you have that multicultural aspect. And I guess traveling and working abroad can enable someone to have that extended bandwidth and to have that certain acceptance for the other, and tolerance, and all what goes with it. When it comes to education, so let us start with the first question. So I'm interested to know more about Hector. How did he came across, well, let's say, how did he love the English language? So was it like a choice, or did you just major in something else and then you've chosen to get specialized in English language? So can you tell us more about this, Hector?
Surely, thank you. It's a funny story with me, and I guess as it is with everybody, we all have our way of getting to where we need to be, and there's no right or wrong way of getting there. And my way was, I studied in the University of Texas at El Paso, and I studied international business, not because I wanted to open a company or because I was even intrigued by what business was, which I am now, but actually because of all majors that I could have chosen, I saw the word international. And that was my reasoning. That was as far of a thought as I needed. And because I had this experience of being from Mexico, moving to Texas, and I had this aspiration to travel ever since I was a kid, I just went with it. And through my career, I studied abroad in the Czech Republic. I worked for Disney in Florida. I was there for the Disney College program, living amongst people from all over the world, which was my first exposure to that we are speaking of, that understanding, that culture, that abroad family, that sense of community away from home that you feel, that curiosity that you get from meeting someone from a different country or culture. And I was sold with it. So I finished my degree, and I didn't want to continue my 9 to 5, which at the time I was working in insurance. So car, life, boat, motorcycle insurance. I was the guy protecting and selling policies to customers. And even though it was good and I enjoyed it, my coworkers were great, and I was doing what I was good at, comforting people through my actions and voice, and guiding people to make the right choice, teaching them the correct way to be protected. Even though I was doing my ikigai since then, I wasn't satisfied because it was still an office job and it was still an uncertain career. And so I received this blessing of a guest. At the time, I was doing couch surfing, which, if somebody doesn't know, it's this app where travelers can just message new friends and ask to surf their couch and stay in their home for free while they're traveling in their city. So I received this very interesting girl in El Paso, and she told me how she was on her way to Korea to teach English as a second language. And I felt intrigued because, whoa, Korea sounds fun. I speak English. Tell me more. And she told me about the TEFL certificate and all these things that we can do online to kind of make our applications a bit stronger. And so I went with it. I'm a person that really takes opportunities as they come, and I like to think that I seize them. So she told me about it and I seized it. And I looked into Japan and into China, and I wanted to learn Chinese, and I still do. And China offered me this job, this apartment, motorcycle in a beach city and in a wonderful place. So I'm thinking, that's it. So I started traveling through Europe with my friend, where I met and learned and experienced and just knew that I was doing the right thing. And I moved to Asia wanting to go to China, but I hadn't received my visa. So there I was in the Czech Republic, because I visited again, with a decision. I have money for one last ticket. Should I go back home and save again and rethink my life? Or should I go to Vietnam, which I've never heard of, which I don't know anything about? All I know is that it's bordering China, and stay optimistic and hope that China gives me my visa sooner or later. And so I booked my flight to Vietnam, and I got there with $30 in my pocket and a friend there who on day one threw me into an adult communication class. And I had just gotten off the plane. I was nervous. I wasn't sure what I was doing. But little did I know that my decisions had led me to my ikigai. I was there in a room of people wanting to learn communication, of wanting to learn how to express themselves, how to feel more comfortable approaching new friends. And little did I know that in some way or another, I was a perfect sensei for them. Not to say that I could teach them all the things that they needed, but in my own way and in my own element and in my own skills, I was able to bestow the most from myself upon them. Because as we study and go, we don't have just one teacher, we have many, but that's the beauty of it. So through my 7 years in Vietnam, I was lucky enough to open my own English center there and run the administration and run the social media content, and just learn by doing what it was like to not only be a teacher, but what was the admin side like? What was going through the pandemic like? What was opening an English school online like? Like from one day to another, I had to facilitate my students, my families, and I had to learn the ropes by myself, and not in a complaining matter, but in a adapting, thinking on your feet, making the most out of the stressful situation, which I think all of us have the opportunity of doing, whether it's a small degree or a big one, whether you're a CEO of a company or you're dealing with some frustration in the drive-through lane or standing in line at a bank. We are always faced with a decision of how to deal with stress and uncertainty and changes in what we expected. And in a GIF, that was my experience to English language learning. This learn by doing, this, if you want to learn how to swim, just jump in. And now that I'm in Mexico, I'm continuing to teach online. And I actually founded another English platform, which I will get to in the next couple of questions. So a bit of a long story, but a bit of a close one to my heart. So thank you for asking.
And thanks for sharing. Actually, I like what you shared, and I like the way you learned the lesson in life. I'm going to elaborate on what you said. There are two sayings. Actually, I'm going to start with the first one, is that sometimes change seems to be scary for people. So that to do it for a career shift or to do it for a lifetime decision. So the question is, how far do you think change can be important in someone else's life so that you can achieve your target, your life purpose? And the second question is, so you can have more time to answer both questions if you want. There is another saying which says, once the student is ready, the teacher shows up. Who was your teacher? What was your teacher, let's say? Was it a lesson? Was it a person? Was it a circumstance? Was it a feeling you had in yourself so that you took that decision?
What an interesting question, because these are very thought-provoking.
They are.
In my personal case, I'm quite lucky because I've known at least part of my Ikigai for some time. Since university, I was always the one chosen in my group projects to present. And actually my family, my mother was a teacher for 40 years, my father as well. And all of my father's family were teachers, professors, speakers. So I don't want to say it runs in my blood, but I was there as a kid, seeing my dad on stage, giving a speech. And so I never felt this uncertainty when I found myself in the classroom, but rather I kind of felt that spark that, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is where I'm supposed to be, not behind a desk, not behind a computer or whatever, but here with people. And it's really close to my values, what you say, that the teacher doesn't show up until the students are ready. Because something that I found was a big misunderstanding and a misconception of the language industry, if I can just be blunt about it, is that parents, students, and anybody wanting to learn English, the majority of them don't really have the right mindset, because they are willing to pay these high fees and go to these prestigious big schools, and that's not a problem. Great. But how are you seeking the biggest challenge if your mindset and you yourself are not willing to put 99% of the effort? How and why are you expecting a teacher to magically put grammar and words into your brain when you or yourself are not willing to listen or to speak without fear or to take notes or to ask strangers how their day is? And that, I think, was the biggest lesson and my biggest value that I wanted to pass on to my students. English, it's obviously very important, but it's just a tool. Mm-hmm. It's what brings business together. It's what brings a coffee date or a relationship or a friendship together. It doesn't define who you are. It doesn't make you somehow better than others. It's just a tool. It's a color. It's a flavor. And when you are not willing to put in the effort, I don't think your teacher will ever show up. And that is not a secret, but what I would like to remind students out there of.
Okay, I'd like to elaborate on this point. So I'm interested to know more how you, as a teacher, you can include all stakeholders. So we use the term stakeholders, let's say parents included, other schools, competitors. So the mindset has always been the same, you know, and but you as let's say as a change maker, as an agent of change, as a teacher who is active and uses active pedagogy, how can you contribute so that you change that mindset towards something positive, let's say, to involve parents even with their children's learning activities? So can you think of one activity that you have maybe planned or maybe conducted, maybe taught, where parents and students were involved?
Surely, of course. It's, again, a very vivid question, because I grew through education in Mexico and my mother being a teacher. And then I went to America, where I was exposed to their curriculum and way of education. And without any prior knowledge, I was put into this Asian education, which, as I said, is very prestigious and it's very intense. And the expectations are so high. The demands of the teacher, the demands of the students. I came to see children 4 years old carrying backpacks filled with books when they themselves couldn't even read. Like, just something that stuck with me. And my school, when I opened it a year after coming to Vietnam, my school is called Dreamland Eco English. And it was like an alien landing in the education system, because we started as an outdoor center where we would go on weekend trips to museums, parks, downtown, and the tour buses. We would rent out kitchens, experiments, and sports and arts. And it seemed like my students were sold. They were given this freedom of being themselves, of using their senses to learn, you know, outdoor learning and, you know, collaborative and hands-on and, you know, phenomenal learning from Finland. When you really find something that speaks to you, you just follow it and you learn by following it. And I could see this joy with my students, and they would go back to their school where they would, you know, hear the ruler hitting on the desk, where they would be in a room filled with 50 or 60 other students, where they couldn't, or they didn't have the opportunity to be free, or at least as free as a smaller group and being outside. And so my parents that, you know, registered their students, so their children, could see the value, and they could feel the love in the eyes when their kids came back from this. Mom, I learned about butterflies today because I saw a blue one on a leaf. What do you mean? You didn't learn was and wasn't and do and didn't? Like, no, I didn't think about grammar once today, but I was asking about my smell, and I was looking at things, and I met this guy from Romania in the bus. Like, they were so stimulated. And I believed, and I did really, I still do believe that I was doing the right thing. But my mindset wasn't correct, because I'm very optimistic and I seize my opportunities. So when I started, I thought, I'm going to change the whole education system in Vietnam. I'm going to change it, all of it. And I came to realize that anything that you try to change is like a rubber band.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you try and pull it with all your strength,
Yes,
it's going to pop and it's going to come back and hit you.
yeah.
And that's exactly what happened to me. But through the years, I kind of learned that the way to go about it is let your actions speak for themselves. Let your stakeholders share with others about your value, because at the end of the day, whether you're an IELTS speaking coach, or you're an early childhood education, or you're sustainability, or whatever technology, you're not going to be able to please everybody. Your product, your service, your program, and you yourself as a human, you're not going to be able to give everybody what they need and what everybody is looking for. So rather than trying to be a one-size-fit-all educator, which I feel we all kind of have to go through that to realize that you yourself have an ikigai, which is the perfect word today, because you yourself are the perfect teacher for others in some kind of way. And you are the perfect product, not for the 100%, but for 5, 10, 15. And if you do offer what you love, what you're good at, and what the world needs, as this test kind of guides you through, you'll be able to see that you are perfect just the way you are. It's just a matter of finding your right stakeholders and reaching those people that need your teachings.
Actually, I've been through the freelance experience myself, and as an independent teacher, I've been through this. So it was during the COVID pandemic and post that period, and very recently, like 6 months ago. So I've experimented with, let's say, the marketing process, kind of creating a niche for myself, because I was a polyvalent teacher just like you. So I taught different age groups. And so I said, if I'm going to offer my services to people, so everyone will be just jumping in to register for that. And I won't be able to fulfill everyone's expectations all at once. Let me just think about, narrow it down, and thinking how, like, people maybe needs, it was need oriented. So I was looking for what kind of areas English can be useful for. So a lot of people, they need English for professional purposes, for educational purposes. So I tried to narrow it down, and I've created my own coaching system for professionals using English. And for young learners, as you said, the sustainable approach, the what else? The PBL approach. And I noticed that my students, they liked how they get really involved into the activity. For example, for film-based learning, I still remember the experience when I coached my students to create, let's say, write their own script, give each other feedback. It was monitored by me and other colleagues speaking other languages. And all of it, the project is called Lost in Tunisia, actually. And it's about a group of students that found themselves on an island. It's called Jerba in Tunisia. And after a plane crash. And most of them, they speak different languages. So how can they manage to communicate using English and understand the other language as well? So here English was used as a lingua franca. So, and the whole project was conducted using mobile phones. And my students, they really appreciated that, because they could post it to TikTok and they could show it to their parents and to their friends. And here is it. Look at what we did. So what we did. So actually, I really believe, just like you say, that there's no one-fits-all model, though. But we do our best as facilitators, let's say, to facilitate that learning experience. And it's not easy at all, because, look, things are evolving. And now, especially with the advance of AI. So we are, let's say, at a standpoint where we should calculate every risk and anticipate even solutions to those problems that may arise in the process. So, and I would like to ask you a little bit some questions about education in whatever you taught, wherever you lived. Do you think that, let's say, how can I say it? I don't want to say that education is, there is one fits all model, but do you think let's say the future will be more of blended or hybrids. There's a difference between the two, and or maybe online, let's virtually. People would just appreciate the in-person lessons. So what do you see? What do you kind of a prospective vision to education in like 5-10 years from now, according to your
What a
business and what you lead now? What a question, I know.
no,
Yeah.
I want to say a cool question like that, because I guess teachers are never really asked about their like sci-fi movie, like
No.
you know, if I could make a movie of the future of education.
Yes, what would it be? That's a nice question.
Exactly. Well, this is so thought-provoking again and intriguing, because I would like to touch on my online organization and let go a little bit of my English center in Vietnam. Because again, you know, the center can speak for all outdoor, hands-on, experience-based collaborative learning. But what I've seen on Link Online Learners, we started during the pandemic as a response to connect and link people from around the world. While everybody was locked in their home and we couldn't leave and we felt alone, we kind of offered this window to the world where you could suddenly share your ordinary life and become extraordinary to other people and take center stage and be the voice of the room and be that persona. And I'm very proud to say that, you know, we were awarded by the British Council. We were a finalist in the Elbins Award. We had publishings in the UNESCO and the OECD. The bigger, I never thought of anything like that. I was just so happy that we could offer
Just being
something to the
yourself.
students.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the kids too, like 10 to 18-year-olds were just coming together to chat and, hey, I'm bored. But what I saw, because we have sessions and we still run sessions every week, I had a front row seat to what happens if you put that study abroad student experience and that awkward make new friends and that curiosity of meeting others live at the same time in everybody's room, whether you're in a farm or in a Tokyo city or wherever you are. You had access to this round table of diverse demographics and backgrounds and ideas. And little did we know that what was starting to cook was project-based learning guided by the same users. So, hey guys, I like podcasts. Oh, wow, I would be interested in that. And so we had a New Zealand youth member start their own podcast with other people. And we had around 20 episodes visiting people's lives, just like you do in the IKIGAI. And we had other projects like, guys, I really like manga. I want to make a manga about the SDGs, about this like super powerful teens that save the world from global warming in 30 years. Whoa. Hey, I want to do this. Oh, can we do that? And so the teachers were never on a pedestal. We were never above them. We were just somebody in the room. And of course, like you said in your film, you know, project, you just guided them. And that was phase 2. And now come phase 3. Now Link Online Learners welcomes experts every week. I don't like calling them teachers because, again, we're just somebody in the call. Now these experts come in sharing their own ikigai in a way, because we have a professional rock star, Pohawk from Boston, and he has his own breakout room. And if you feel music-y, or if you love, or if you want to learn, or if you want to try, you can join this expert in his room and see him in his element and speaking about what he knows and loves. And if you don't feel it like that day, you can go into the design and art digital room, or you can go into the French room, or it's this it's becoming this home that fosters infinity. No, it sounds super weird, but there's this infinite number of rooms, and in every room there's an expert out there. And without you knowing, you are an expert to your own room. Makeup, fashion, K-pop, whatever. It doesn't matter how old you are. You yourself are an expert. And I needed to build these blocks to explain how I see the future of education. I see the future of education as this stroll down a supermarket where you are able to choose not only your diet, but the brand of your diet. And not in a like commercialized way. I don't want to get on that, but rather, listen, yes, you like music, but there's thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of music teachers. So how could you just pick one and stay with them for 5 years? Wouldn't you rather try different professors, different instruments, and see who resonates with you, who shares that same purpose? And that's where I'm going to, is that maybe with VR glasses, or maybe with whatever, we will be able to not choose, that's the wrong word, but connect the right student to the right teacher. And the magic will just happen from that. And actually, I would, if I could choose one question to ask you, that would be it too, because it's so intriguing. What would your future of education film look like?
Actually, we are integrating more of VR. So I've experimented with a platform and an app called IKIGAI. So and I've guided my students to create their own worlds, let's say virtual world, where they can interact using themselves as avatars, you know. So I see like education not the way I see it. So that what I do is that I look up for whatever is new in the markets when it comes to apps and AI technology, and I guide my students how to use that, and I add the English flavor to it, and then I let that sparkle with them. It's fireworks. So I just let them improvise. So the last experience that I dealt with my students was related to PBL. They had to choose different topics, but all of it was to create a video program using gamification. So it was kind of a game where they have to use a storyline, where they write it in English. So that's where English was used. And but they have to rely on their other skills, like IT skills, like let's say creative skills. So the musicians will be able to kind of design the background music. The others can do the voiceover, those who want to. What else? What did I have? Those who design the video games. There's one who was keen on management. So he was the team lead. So he was organizing everything. So it was kind of assigning roles to students while they use this. And they might consider this into a VR experience where they have to convert all of this. And of course, by relying on the SDGs, because all of this experience was and should be sustainable, because it's not only just for the purpose of presenting it once, but how we maintain this. We sustain this over time and space. And I have one of the prior students, not the very recent ones, their project was bid, and they had to they sold it to a multinational company in Dubai, and it's a Tunisian team. Yes, and now they're starting kind of a business where they have to create those games and then sell them. So it's like it started first as a think tank, but now they're taking it to another level. So, and you know, the digital skills that they have, it's beyond control and beyond what we can know about it. So I'm learning from them. So all I do is that guiding them. And what else? So English, as you said, is a tool in this context. A tool for communication, because they couldn't go overseas and they couldn't go international without the English language. And also, it made their project applicable to any context, so they were recognized by that. And that is the future of education in my country, let's say in Tunisia. Now we talk about not Tunisia 2.0, but it's beyond that. So the new generation is like smarter than we know, smarter than we think. And we're just catching up as teachers, you know. So yeah.
I couldn't agree more. You know, having 10-year-olds, hey, look at the game I designed. Huh?
Yes.
What do you mean? Like, it's really incredible. And that's, I think, what we could agree on is that when you give these stakeholders the chance to shine in what they love or what their skills are, because when you give anybody a test, we've heard it a million times, if you test a fish on its ability to fly, etc. But it's really, you know, we don't even give these students the chance to really show what they can do. Like
sometimes.
And that's, I hope to see the future moving more towards that inclusive education.
It is. I invite you to come and visit Tunisia, or if ever there will be an international conference will be held here. So you'll be one of my guests. So I'm sure about this, because having you and having the whole experience shine into here, it's amazing. So and here the institutions, they are really up to date with whatever is happening to when it comes to the academic advance and progress. Even teachers were getting training. And if not, we're training each other. So we're getting the self-training for ourselves. So we're lifelong learners. And I do believe that's how we progress and how we advance. And going back to talk about your career path, Hector. So apart from Vietnam, so you taught in China, Vietnam, in Mexico, and what else? Now you're teaching online. Yes. I'm interested to know about the platform, your teacherpreneur, let's say, journey. How is it?
Well, thank you. I never thought what online could really do, because I've taught in Mexico and Vietnam, but I've had an online lesson with 1,000 students in India. Like,
oh,
what?
Wow, yes.
Or Link Online Learners. In these 3 years, we've had youth users from more than 60 countries. Like, crazy, right? You would never think that something could really reach so many people. So I would like to think that I've taught all around the world, not necessarily what we not necessarily what we think a lesson is, but more to that, like human to human interaction. And actually what where my experience took me during the pandemic was to a platform called ClassIn. And ClassIn is a platform from China. It's the leading edtech platform in the country, and it rivals, if not worries, those platforms of the Nordic countries, which for years have been the best, you know, in the world and acclaimed, and they are as the best education in the world for XY reason. And ClassIn really gave me a taste of what the future holds, because it has updates just like any platform and any app. But how I feel as a teacher using ClassIn, it's kind of like putting Zoom and Photoshop together. It's giving tools, and the feeling when you are in the class, it's somehow having like 4 brains. You're thinking of what you're speaking, of what you're showing, of what you're preparing to show, and what people are discussing live. So as a teacher, you're just everywhere at the same time. It's like a chameleon looking all over the place. And with your hands, you feel that you have 8 tentacles, because you're in the chat box, you're sharing the files, you're sharing screen, you're overviewing what people are doing individually, you're bringing up tools, you're giving power for the students to access tools, and just on and on and on. And the feeling when the lesson is over, it's like in the movies where you unplug this
Yeah.
like this thing from your brain, and you just come back to reality. It feels like that, and it's only the beginning. And it is a feeling that you kind of have to get used to. It's nothing like we've experienced before, but it's like a pool with like this elixir that you kind of crave more and more. And that's the beauty of it, that you can dive as deep as you want into AI and into all this technology, which is never ending, and we're just playing catch up. But it's about fetching the right tools, fishing what works for you, and kind of trial and error kind of thing. And so I've been trying to merge Link Online Learners and ClassIn, my English classes. I always teach them on ClassIn. And I'm always, obviously, as a teacher, wanting to find more opportunities. Like today, I'm so intrigued about this film-based learning and how Tunisia is really leading innovation and what Tunisia 2.0 could look like. And that's the beauty of reaching out and meeting more people online. Now more than ever, anybody is
Yeah.
available anywhere.
Actually, yes. And thanks to technology, now we can travel the world just with a simple click. And now here I am talking to you. You're in Mexico and I'm in Tunisia. And we've been friends like on social media. And I've noticed a lot of interesting things that I'm going to ask you more about, Hector, which is the teacher content creator. I like your videos, by the way, so much. So the micro videos that you post on TikTok, on Facebook. Can you tell us more about this? How do you choose your content? And what's the strategy for you to choose the best social media to post this? What is there a strategy to do this? How can you? I would like
there
to
a strategy?
listen to you.
I don't know.
Yes.
Thank you. Listen, as I said before, I think one of my
the tongue twisters video.
yeah.
You plenty of them, so I still remember some of them. Well, let me just check your.
That's wonderful.
I'll be asking some specific questions from your
surely
your profile. But
yeah, as I answer, you can find one that sticks out to you. That's so funny.
The
Thank
teacher
you.
content creator, how do you see
Wow.
this? Yeah.
Well, first of all, I would like to share the feeling of content creators out there when you realize that your content reaches corners of the world that you would have never thought. Because as a content creator, we're feeding social media platforms with all of our heart and all of our hours, and it's intense. And no one could ever know how much time you put into the planning, the strategy, the scripting, the video, the editing,
What
the
you
posting,
wear, what you do, how you edit, everything.
It's so intense.
No.
It's like a job in itself.
It is.
And I can be honest with you, even as being the most optimistic person, you get discouraged because social media may not be as kind, and we may have this like unrealistic expectation of going viral, or what a certain amount of likes tell about your videos. But here we are, how did my videos reach Tunisia? I don't know, but I'm so happy to hear that.
Yes.
So if I were to tell somebody out there the roadmap to becoming a teacher content creator,
Yes.
it's not about giving your 100% into every step of the process, because God knows there's a lot of steps. Like we said, it's not about giving your 100 in every step. It's about finding the right tool to assist you for each step. So I can tell you that why would I spend hundreds of hours thinking of my own tongue twisters before I'm just wasting opportunity? And why not go to ChatGPT, ask for 100 tongue twisters, choose the 30 that I like, and then add my own personality to them, find my own way of challenging the viewers. You are taking a bit of information and making it your own. And on the next step, when it comes to scripting, yes, you can ask AI to write a script for you, but it's not going to be what it could be. It's not going to be you.
As spontaneous as it should be.
Exactly. And that's where your 100% should come. Once you are fed this foundation, this rock, it's your job to sculpt it.
Yeah.
It's not your job to go up a mountain and mine and pick a rock. Oh my God, you'll die before you. So it's about working smart.
Yeah.
And with videos, are you really telling me that you are able to learn Video Cut Pro or whatever the newest video editor is while you're teaching, while you're scheduling, while you're dealing with parents and keeping up with tools? There's no way you can do that, guys. Maybe if that's really it, 30 minutes a day, go for it. If that's what you want to spend more time on. But if not, CapCut is way more than enough.
Is.
It's simple. And
yeah.
Canva, or like Wix.com for your website. People don't expect you to be top of your league in every step of the process. It's just about getting there. And it's tiring, let me tell you. But it's so rewarding, really. It's so rewarding. And I think we're still at a stepping stone. Oh, I'm sorry, at a forefront, like you say, of not knowing what's on the other side. Like, will Cambridge sponsor teacher content creators in the past as ambassadors and as faces? Will Coursera give you contracts by promoting different courses according to your specialty and your niche? We still don't know where this could go, but we pretty much know that it can be huge, just as everything that technology touches. And even as though I haven't posted anything in months.
I know.
Yeah. It's also
you haven't popped up in my newsfeed for a long time ago, so that's why.
Well, you're encouraging me to do that because
it's
the feeling, it's quite dark when a content creator doesn't post for a day, for a week, because you feel that you failed. You feel that it's over, that
I had,
oh God.
I had that feeling once. One video took me, like, for me, I don't spend more than a day thinking about it, crafting it. So because it will consume all of my energy. So what I do is that one of the videos, just took me an hour to think about it. The Mary Poppins video, just thought about the longest words in the English language. I didn't use AI at all, but I guess I should have. So what is the longest word in the English language? And I like Mary Poppins a lot. And I don't have accessory link to that. So what I did is that I saw a friend of mine, he's an actor, Tunisian actor. He posted a photo of himself wearing a hat like similar to those fairy tale movies, And I said, tune in just a second, I'll be right back. I don't know what, I just posted a comment below his photo. You look supercalifragilisticexpialidocious, And then I just went to my wardrobe and I think just something similar to what Mary Poppins was wearing. And that was one of the videos that are dear to my heart. I just did them for myself. But I guess once I uploaded that to YouTube, it was viewed by hundreds of people around the world. And I said, wow, I should consider maybe creating more videos, but it's time consuming. Sometimes it's not what you expect. Sometimes you think it's a good idea, but what about other people? How are they going to perceive it? But is it going to be watched only by your friends, or will there be a
Yeah,
global outreach? You know,
yeah.
so I'm being really optimistic but realistic at the same time. So it's a challenge, and
Yeah.
you know, let's say the young learners and young adults, they spend most of their time on social media. So don't you think that we better use that channel, let's say, to not teach them, but to drag them more into learning English the fun way, the way you do it?
Well, thank you. You're
Yeah.
so kind. And yeah, I don't think it's an idea anymore. It used to be, but it's a
Mm-hmm.
necessity. Like
Mm-hmm.
I use TikTok for myself. You know, I
Mm-hmm.
keep up with the news. I find like gym workouts and experts in cooking and recipes and God, anything that you could imagine. And when you put yourself in the shoes of the next generation,
Creators. Yeah.
why would they stand through a lesson, through a through a like a through a speech, whatever, through whatever 2-3 minute video of you explaining one
Yeah.
thing slowly? They don't want that. They're craving info
Yes.
because it's not about
Fast
immediate
pace.
retention. I think it's about like finding
Relevance.
a content creator that you like, then
Mm-hmm.
saving the videos in your file and
Mm-hmm.
creating a folder for you to like access at a later time. And those are the steps that we may have to think about. Like it's not about my one video will answer all questions here and now. So that's why my approach is that micro thing, is like the tongue twisters or the riddles or thought-provoking questions of
I use the
think about
same.
this later, tell your friend about it later.
Or
And
challenge.
yeah,
I
and how would
challenge
you
you to do
see
the
it?
same. Yeah.
How would you see this challenge? What
Mm-hmm.
would your advice be of how to incorporate and how to regain some of that attention
Mm-hmm.
back from social media, which is an
There's a
infinite
technique.
pool?
Actually,
Is
there's a
it?
technique for marketing. There's a technique, even like for attention span. The video should not be very long. Second,
Mm,
there should be a call to action in the video. So whenever you post something or you share a content, which is nice, but the audience, they're left with no takeaways. So always leave the audience with something that they learn or something they can do after. So call for a challenge. You know, that's the one number one strategy on TikTok. It's like the trend and the challenge. Do this. So they're starting to recreate your video, but their own
mm,
way, and they can tag you. So that can expand the audience span, let's say. It's not
mm.
easy. Even for visibility on TikTok, the hashtag goes in a certain way. You know, if you just hashtag it, you know, the normal way, learn English and podcasts or whatsoever, no one is going to watch this. But you should hashtag according to what your audience is seeking. So once they'll be scrolling through that app, they will come across your video. It will be suggested for them. There's a whole algorithm in that. So it's beyond what we do and beyond the effort that we put. And so I might consider maybe this during holidays or vacation to post a new video. But just like you, I just posted maybe 5 or 6 and that's it. But I just tried it.
Yeah,
That's something that I
absolutely.
always wanted to do. And I've used it in class. So just the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious video, and they liked it for the longest word in the English language. The tongue twisters, we all do this in our classes. So we do this for
Mhm.
fun. And the students, they like them so much. What else? What I noticed, what is specific about your videos is that you experiment with the format in the sense you add music, you add a nice background so that people, once when they come across your video, they will be seeing a different layout. So at
Mm,
least they know that's a new video. So that's another tip. So for teachers who maybe they use only one background and that's it. So students won't be, or maybe the people who watch this are not going to recognize if it's new content or not. So you should
mm.
diversify in content, in format, in different channels, let's say audio, video. So you do this the way you want. So before we wrap up, Hector, I have a question related to your background, since we talked about background. And I would like you to choose one item from whatever you have there, and you tell me the story behind that, the story that lies beneath that. So anything you want. Feel free to choose anything.
Sure.
I don't want to choose for you because I see a monkey, I see a lot of things. So
here I have a lot. Thank you. It's really nice when people can share about these items because you feel so connected to them, right? Yes. And to anybody that knows me, yes, this is the most stereotypical thing I would grab. But to those who don't know me, there's a reason, right? So maybe most of you or some of you know about this character, Son Goku. He is an anime persona from a Japanese show. And you can see that I'm pretty obsessed with him.
Oh, really?
Like it's everywhere. On my phone. Yeah, it's on my phone. It's absolutely everywhere.
Okay.
And there's a reason for that. And it ties with Ikigai, and which is our topic for today.
All right.
I grew up watching this, and it's actually very popular in Latin America. And of course, there's cool battles and boys like fighting, but it goes further into it. The reason why I like this character, Son Goku, is that I feel a personality connection with him. He's outgoing, he's friendly, he's so easy to make new friends. He's out there, he's optimistic, he's a leader. People seek him for comfort, for safety. And I believe those are my skills. The Ikigai test even told me so. But there's also the bad in his character.
Okay.
And he's blindly trustworthy. He will trust anybody, no matter how many times they double cross him or whatever. And I'm the same way. And yeah, I've caught fire a few times, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't change that I love putting myself out there and helping others. And he's also not the brightest star in the sky. He's also, because he knows what he likes. He likes training, he likes fighting strong guys, and that's it. He doesn't spend his time wondering about what are not his interests. He's really focused. And so there's plenty of reasons that I feel connected to him. Even my parents call me Goku since I was a kid as a nickname, because our personalities are really much alike. And my point being is that he has been some kind of like a support system for myself, because seeing him fail, seeing him overcome, seeing him train, it kind of embodies real life. Because how can I expect new results if I don't put myself through new challenges? And not to say the word enemy, but it's fighting other enemies, but putting myself out there, out of my comfort zone, to be hurt, to learn through failure, which, believe it or not, is in my eyes the best way of learning. Learn swimming by jumping in, learn content creating by just posting, and what we've spoken about today. So as an advice from me today, to kind of find your Ikigai out there, yes, you should definitely take the test that Yousra can share in the comments with you later. But from my perspective, you can find a character out there, whether it's a movie or a cartoon or a book, of someone that really resonates with you, that you can see yourself like in, and see how they take on life challenges and how they approach problems. And like, really, you can learn a lot from that. And not only that, but you can take different characters and pinpoint and choose what skills, talents, and which weaknesses you want to work on, from just pretending you are this fictional character. And why not spend some time watching TV and eating some snacks while you're at it?
Thanks. That's amazing. I guess we do all of us, we do have those role models, like we say. and some other people, they consider us their role models, because even without knowing this, Hector, you are an inspiration to a lot of people, be it from your family or friends. So I hope that we are providing the best version of ourselves to the world. And I guess by doing so, we are authentic to ourselves and to others. By being ourselves, by presenting the real version of ourselves. Because if people can fake a personality or fake, let's say, a certain amount of skills, time will uncover that. Time will show what is real about that person and what is not real. And this is valid in the real world, in the virtual world, because if you as a person, and that is for what I'm talking about, personal branding as well, when you put yourself into the world, when you show who is Hector or who is Yousra, so the real image should really coincide what we share on social media. Because sometimes people, they just show a platonic image about themselves on social media, which is not really recommended. So, and so to a certain extent, so let us just try to be as authentic and as, let's say, real as we can be. And thank you very much for this amazing discussion, and what I knew more about you and your authentic self. And I hope that I have brought at least something, even little, to make you think more about, reflect more about what you want in life, or maybe what you did previously. And thank you, Hector. So I'll let you say.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Yousra. And I hope the feeling of this fuzzy feeling inside of gratefulness and admiration is mutual, because just as you make me believe that I have reached people through videos or through my own self, I too see that in yourself, and you are very innovative and so captivating, and you yourself have really mastered being yourself, and that will reflect, and you'll see great things in your path as you have seen. So yes, I hope that you have that same feeling of achievement, of encouragement, that we are reaching others out there, and in some way, like we said today, we are the perfect teacher for somebody out there in a different point or chapter of their life. It has been a very big pleasure, and I'm so happy that you're doing this with other innovators and teacherpreneurs and souls out there, because we all have a story to share. We all have an ikigai and skills and stories to share. So thank you for helping bring those to the world and to a bigger audience. It's so nice from this seat to be recognized and giving some compliments. So you've made my day. You've encouraged me to start making videos and posting again.
Yes,
so thank
please.
You so much for that. Thank you.
I'm so impatient to watch the next video. I really, honestly, I am so honest about this. I like the content that you share, but the way you do it. So please don't hesitate to share the next video. I'm just awaiting for it.
Thank you.
And before we
Thank
end
you so
up the
much.
conversation, could you please drop the link to your website or to your platform in the chat, so that people who are interested to get in touch with you, or maybe take one of your lessons, so they will know how to contact you. And I'll be dropping the link to the Ikigai test, so that if anyone is interested to know more about the Ikigai, so they can take the test even without being my guest. So you know, it's, the test is part of knowing oneself. It's not a 1000% accurate, like we all know. And because some things that are perceived with the heart, not through statistics or math or diagrams, or no, but partially, you know, this test has helped me to reflect more on what I know about myself, and to think more about what am I good at, what do the world need from me, what can I bring to people, and what else? So how can I do things that I can be useful to me and to others? So, money will follow. Money is just a tool, just like a communication tool. Sometimes you do the right thing and money won't follow. But most of the cases, yes. If you revise, you review, and so you won't be disappointed by the end. So thank you very much, Hector, and I hope this won't be the last time we interact together. I look forward to collaborate with you in future events and in the ELT community, generally speaking. And you're welcome to Tunisia. Please visit Tunisia if you have the chance to come to Tunisia, and I will do the same for Mexico. And
of course,
say bye-bye in your language. I'm learning,
Well, you are pretty good at it already. We will say adios.
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 Adios. And ma salema, which is
adios, Yousra.
In Arabic Tunisian dialect.
Arigato gozaimasu. Thank you so much for having me today.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye-bye.